Good morning. Yesterday we went through some of the electronics for the ventilation. We also drilled some holes into the roof rack. So today we will put in the structural wood for the deck, the roof deck, and I will also go through some of the electronics again. Yesterday I couldn't figure out why the switch on the fan wasn't working. So I did some research last night, and yeah, we'll go through that a bit later on. Hopefully today I'm expecting to get the deck done by today. Yeah, let's. My plans don't always seem to time out right. There's always something that goes wrong. So let's aim for getting the deck done. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, no biggie. I will be taking a break after today for a couple of days. My birthday is coming up in a couple of days, so I need to go get cakes and stuff like that. So let's try and get as much done as we can today. So the research with the electrical switches that I did last night said that the 12 volt power switches work differently to normal power switches. Initially I thought these prongs were for positive, negative and earth, but apparently they are not. So it's a little bit easier to see on this switch, which the previous owner had to on one of his appliances. So on the three prongs there, you might notice that there is a gold colored one and two silver ones. The way that this switch works is that gold plate runs to the negative. The middle one is supposed to be to the positive terminal, and the second silver one, the one on the outside, is the appliance. So in this case, the fan. I'm going to test this out with the lights, just because it's easier. So we'll test it out with the lights. With the ventilation fan though, there's no gold, they're all silver. So I'm not sure which one is supposed to be which one. So I'll have to do a trial and error run with that, but let's just test out and make sure that that research that I did was correct. Okay, so I'm just going to use the cabling that's already wired. Yeah, it just saves me time. So I'm going to put the negative end of the lights in the gold switch and then plug the negative cable, the powered cable, in. Okay, so with the positive light, I will plug it into the end terminal, the one furthest away from the negative and add the battery connected positive to the middle terminal. I'll just turn the safety fuse on. Okay, the lights have turned on. So I'm just going to flick the switch here and see if it turns off. Okay, so that did work. Alright, let me disconnect the power from the circuit breaker. And I'm just going to replicate that with the fan light, the fan switch, just because I don't know which one the positive and negative terminal is. Yeah, so let's do a trial and error and we'll see what happens. Okay, the negative feels a bit loose, but let's try it anyway. Okay, there we go. So that has solved it. Okay, sorry, the cables have fallen off. I'm just going to re-terminate the cables for the fan. I will also be adding a, let's use green cabling, just so that there's no confusion as to which one's the positive, which one's the negative. I'm going to be adding a green cable. And that will be what identifies what's going to the appliance. Okay, so I have terminated the three prongs, the three ends to the electrical side, the power side, I mean. The black cable from the fan I've just fed straight into the terminal for the negative. The positive cable from the fan I've hooked into a green terminal ending, and this red positive cable is going directly to the battery. Sorry, to the circuit breaker, which is connected to the battery. Okay, so with the fan base, let's hook it up to positive in the middle, appliance, and the negative, I'll go turn that circuit breaker on. Okay, so the fan is off at the moment because the off switch is not on. Let's turn it on. No, that has tripped the circuit breaker. Let's switch the appliance and the negative, because I might have put them on. I forgot to take note of which one was which last time. No, that's tripped it again. I'm not sure what's causing that, so I am going to try with the 12-volt switch and see if that works. Yes, so okay, so that seems to be working fine. So there must be some sort of power differential on the ventilation switch than the 12-volt switch. So what I will do, I'm gonna have to mount that switch up. Yeah, okay, so that's fine. At least we know what's going on now. So I will put the ventilation bottom piece back on just because it looks there's no hole at the bottom of the cabin. But I'm gonna have to rerun the electrical cables so that I can move that switch somewhere. Let's not worry about that for now. I might make a panel where all the switches are and just have them mounted in one place. So I'm gonna need to rewire the electricals again just because it's gonna need to run to, I'm thinking of putting the panel here. So I need to get a longer cable or extend that cable. So for now, let's start on the roof. So as I said yesterday, I have drilled a hole. Sorry, let me just turn that radio down. Yeah, so as I said yesterday, we drilled some holes into the steel roof racks, and I had the wood cut to size at the hardware store. So we will mount them on, and then we'll go get some decking wood to put on top of it. Yeah, I need to make sure that the wood is, the framework is level before I can put the decking on top. But that's it's going to be a little difficult because the van is not parked on a level block, so it's sloping down. So I'm thinking I might just use a straight piece of wood to make sure that all the structural frame work is level. So yeah, let's get started on that. So the wood that I got is treated pine. It's the same wood that you would put as the framework for decking on your house. The guy at the hardware store recommended this over structural pine, just because the way that it's treated, it will take a lot longer to rot than any other type of treated wood. Certainly more than my lifetime, and certainly more than the lifetime of the car. So this should last well beyond it's needed. So the plan is, I did mention yesterday that I can't drill into the top bit. So I can't drill down into the roof racks themselves, because one, the top bit is just made of rubber and you can just pull it off. There's nothing actually securing it in there. It's just the force from it being shoved in there. And two, it is the metal itself. It goes down. It's a U shape, so there's nothing on the top. So I would need to drill in quite a fair way, and it took me an hour and a half just to drill 7 holes into the structural steel. So it's going to take me a million years to drill, 80 or 90 holes that I plan to put the decking with. So the other problem was I can't get underneath it to put bolts in all the way while the decking is on. So I'm going to put this wood framing on. That way I can secure the decking wood onto it, and then that decking wood will be secured to this framing onto the roof racks themselves. So that's the plan. I did also mention that I will be bracing the decking as well, so that it's one single piece. That way the bracing itself will hold the structure together and make it a lot more sturdy, but the other safety concern that I had was wind from driving the car. So it's not likely to fly off no matter how fast I'm going, when it's one piece that's bolted in and with reinforced brackets, right, basically. So let's go ahead and measure up where these planks are going, and I'll make sure that they're level and we can secure them in, and then we'll head up to the hardware store and get some wood. So as I mentioned, I was going to be using a piece of wood to make sure that the plankings are level. So all I need to do, I'm going to use these rubber mats as guides on the height that I'm going to put the wood, the structural wood at. So all I have to do is to get this piece of wood and make sure that it's touching on all 3 of them, which it is. So it looks like whoever installed the roof racks did measure it flat. So I'm going to use his or her measurements, and line up the structural wood to the rubber mats. I'm not tightening them just yet. I'll wait till I pull the other ones in, because I'm going to need a socket wrench and some pliers to make sure it's really tight. Okay, so I've just noticed something. I'm going to have to check the rest of the roof, and I thought I was very careful yesterday, but obviously not. Um, so I did mention to make sure to remove any metal particles after you've worked with metal, and the reason for that is because it rusts really fast. The smaller the shavings, the more surface area there is actually. So just when I've come up here now, there is some metal shavings from where I drilled yesterday, and it has already rusted over. So I will show you. So there's the metal shaving and the rust that's gone around it. So it's super critical to make sure that the area is clean after you're working with metal particles. I'm going to need to treat that with the rust converter. It won't be as big a job as last time. I should just be able to wipe it down and put the rust converter on. But I will need to check the whole roof before I continue doing the pine. Otherwise I might not be able to get to it. Okay, luckily it was just the one shard that I could find, so it didn't take too long. Let's continue on with the drilling. I've secured in the front and the middle posts, but with the back one, I'm not sure what this structure is. It's like a toilet roll for the car. I don't know, but I'm gonna need to take it off. The hole is behind it and I can't reach behind it, so I don't know how he's gotten it in the first place. Maybe he's welded it after he's put that in, but I'm gonna see if I can try and take it off anyway. There we go. We have our framework up. I'm just going to double check the measurement, the length that I need before I go out to the hardware store. I'm not sure if it will fit in my car, so I need to check that as well. Okay, so it looks like my measurements yesterday were slightly off. The measurements I'm getting here are 250. So 2.5 meters. I'll just double check the width, but they should be right because the woods were pre-cut. Yeah, so that's 150. Okay, so I know that the length is 2.5 meters from the first bar to the last bar. So I will get that in the length. I believe the planks are 14 centimeters in width each. And the width of this is 1.5 meters. So if I get 10 14 centimeter ones, that should be 1.4 meters, which leaves me 10 centimeters of fill space in between, like gaps. So each gap should technically be 1 centimeter. So I think I will go for that. 10 is a nice easy even number. Yeah, so let me just measure up my car and we'll see if we need to take the car or van. So that is 2.5 meters, and there is a little leeway there, so I might just try it with one plank of wood first at the hardware store, but let's just take the car. This is the decking wood that I am going to be getting. Yeah, I'll just take some measurements, and we need to get some other stuff, so we'll get that first. So I'll be getting some metal strapping as well to secure it in. I also need this to secure the water tank and the grey water tank as well. So I'll get a big roll of this. So I didn't think that all that would fit in my car, so I came back to get the van. It's a good test run for me to trial out the barriers, but I came across a problem. The battery's dead. I only ran it for that 1 minute during last week and the week before, so I actually do have a emergency jump start kit, so I am going to test that out and see if it works. This is the emergency kit that one of my friends gave me for my trip as a going away present. I charged it up quite a few weeks ago, so I'm not sure if that battery will still have that charge retained, but it's a good test run anyway. So let's give it a go. So this kit has some medical supplies, phone charging cables, a fire hydrant, some safety gear, what is this? Some flashlights, a flare kit, okay, and it has the jump start battery. Okay, so the jump start battery kit has the charger. This is a battery that starts up the car, and it's also got some USB ports and stuff in it. As I said, I did charge it quite a while ago. I'm just going to switch it on to see if there's any power. Yep, 100%. Excellent. Alright, so it's also got the start cables. So let's have a look. Okay, first step, make sure there's at least 30% charged. Yes. Second step, insert the battery clamp to the jump starter. Which is where engine start. Yep. Okay, so that only fits in one way. Third step, connect the red battery clamp to the car battery says red terminal on the red terminal. Okay, and the black clamp to the negative terminal. Can't seem to get it working. I'm just gonna fiddle around with it and see if there's something I'm missing. Okay, I can't seem to get this working. I'm just gonna contact the roadside assistance and get them to jumpstart my car. Roadside assist said the app says that they're about 90 minutes away. Let's work on some other things. Actually, I might go get some lunch. Yeah, I'll go get some lunch. I'll just give you a quick update. I've got the roadside assistant technician here at the moment. He's actually taken out the battery and put in a newer one. So he said that this one is a very weak battery. It's only 100 amps, whereas this one is 400. So it's better for me to have the bigger battery in the long run. Alright, so it turns out it wasn't the battery discharging. It was because there's an immobilizer in this car. So the immobilizer, it's a security device to stop people stealing your car. Apparently when you tamper with the battery, it activates. So more than likely when I've disconnected and reconnected the second battery, it's activated. I still did get the second battery. He actually said it was 670 amps, not 400. That is more than enough to last me hundreds and hundreds of hours. So not upset that it was changed over. I think the battery only costs about $200, so it's not a huge deal. I'll put it in the budget for mechanical repairs, but I have the van working again, so very happy about that. And I found the remote for the immobilizer, so I know in future the emergency battery pack starter, I'll just have to test it out another time, I guess. But the roadside assistance technician said that this particular one was a very excellent brand, and he's never heard of this one failing. So let's just hope it doesn't get to that point, but we are back up and running. I'm back from the hardware store. So much drama today. These are the boards that I got for the decking. I mentioned before, they're 14 centimeters across, and I got 10 of them. The width of the vehicle is 1.5 meters, 1500 centimeters, 1500 millimeters, sorry. So 10 of them with 1 centimeter spacing should be fine. Initially I was going to make 2 pieces of 5 planks of wood, so I could mount them up in 2 pieces, but I think it's going to be too heavy for me to do by myself, so I'll mount them on one by one. Yeah. So with the drive, that's right. So the barrier, I had absolutely no issues with the barrier being in the way, so I could see out, there was no issues there. The doors also did not slide out, so I was a little concerned that I didn't tighten it enough, but it seems to be fine. What's the other thing? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So let's continue. What time is it? It's about 3 o'clock. I don't think we'll get done today, but since I don't have to make it into 2 different pieces, I might be able to. Let's tighten the bolts first. Oh, that's right. So the bolts and the fans didn't fly off, so bonus. Yeah, so let's tighten the bolts, and then we'll start mounting the decking. Okay, I've finished securing in the bolts, and I'm ready to start putting on the decking. So as I said, the length from the front rail and the back rail is 2.5 meters. I bought 10 of these 14 centimeter planks. So this should be enough to fill all the way across. I'm going to be using the I bought these for the trimming for the partition barrier. They're 11 millimeters in thickness, so I'm just going to be spacing them like this between each piece of decking. Since it is kind of getting late-ish, I'll probably only just screw it in at this stage. I won't do the braces or the reinforcement just yet. We'll do that when I recover from my birthday. So let's get started on that now. I forgot to mention, I have another piece of wood at the back rail, and that's just clamped on at the end. I've just put that there so that I can rest the back of the planks on it, and that way I know it's a straight edge. I've been able to secure on 3 panels, but I've run out of screws, so I need to go back up to the hardware store and get some more. I'm back from the hardware store, but there's probably maybe half an hour left until the sun goes down. I very much doubt I'll be able to finish in that time, but we'll continue on. The beer's out. Just one more plank. I've just finished the decking. It looks really good, but I'm pretty sure it's too dark for you guys to see anything. Yeah, I guess you guys just gonna have to wait a couple of days until I come back on site. Just kidding. This is what it looks like. It's come out really well. I'm not gonna leave you guys hanging for 3 days. I'm pretty pleased with the way it's come out. It was pretty easy to install. It was time consuming though. So there are 90 screws in there at the moment. I'm not going to be working today because, as I said, I've got to plan the event for my birthday tomorrow. But we will continue on after I've recovered with the securing it down even more and making it into one piece. I did notice it is a lot easier to work on the roof when you're not worried about falling through and a flat surface. Those ridges made it really hard to work up there, but it's really easy with the board. I've just washed it down, so I don't want to go up there just a second. I washed it down because there's last night I washed it down because there was sawdust and stuff everywhere. But I noticed this morning when I came in, there was marks all over my car and on the roof racks, and that's the resin. So I did actually notice the resin on some of the pieces, and I wiped away most of it with a cloth, but apparently it's throughout the whole thing, so I think I'm gonna have to wash it down maybe 5 or 6 times before that resin gets away. So I'm not gonna wash the car until after the resin has gone, but I am very happy with the way it's come out. Thanks again for joining me. Once again, if you did like the content or if you did learn something, hit that subscribe button.